presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Your Rangers offense is a reflection of the wide reach of the front office. It's a collection of veterans, homegrown rising stars, and a couple of solid pickups along the way. From Beltre to Mazzara, Desmond to the returning Rougned Odor, the mix of talent and personality has helped this team rise to 10 games over 500, a third of the way through the season. Tonight, they look to pick up another game on the Mariners in the AL West standing as the division rivals meet next. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT high-speed internet. Well, it is a beautiful night here at Globe Life Park. The clouds have departed. A very light breeze out of the north and very comfortable temperatures as your Rangers look to win another series. They play the middle game of this three-game set against the Seattle Mariners. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Graves, Steve Busby. Delighted you could join us on this Saturday night of Ranger baseball. Rangers won last night. They won big, and one of the big reasons last night, as is so often true with the Rangers this year, Adrian Beltre, John.
Seems like we're highlighting Adrian at least once every 2 or 3 days all season long. He's 37 years old. You can't tell the difference between him now and the last 5 or 6 years. He's playing very well defensively, and he's in a great streak right now. He's in a nine-game hitting streak. He's hitting .400 during that streak, and he's just tortured Seattle so far this year. In only 25 at-bats, he's driven in 12 runs. He's hit a couple of home runs, had a home run and a double last night, drove in 5 runs. So it's a nice combination. He's been hot against everybody. He's been hot against Seattle all year, and that's who he's playing again tonight. So he carried the Rangers to a win last night. He'll probably do the same thing tonight.
Perfect timing. You love it when that happens, and baseball has a way of matching things up like that every so often. And you're fortunate enough to be able to see it tonight. Rougned Odor, welcome back to the Ranger clubhouse. He is at second base tonight. We'll have all the lineups and the first pitch for you right after this. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, a great evening here. A nice crowd filing into Globe Life Park. Martin Perez finishing his warm-up tosses before we get things underway. Let's head down and check in with Rick Renner.
Hey, Buzz, big news today. Rougned Odor is back in the lineup after serving the 7-game suspension. Hanser Alberto is sent down, and Jurickson Profar has been made room for. He will play tonight, start and DH. Let's hear from him about that tonight.
You know, no matter what, if they made the decision that I had to go, I will still go there and play. You know, if I'm here, still the same, just play.
Profar's been red hot. He hit in 7 straight games, 2 home runs, hitting .364. He pushed the hand. He will DH tonight. Prince Fielder taking the night off. Let's kick it upstairs to Buzz and Tom, guys.
All right, Rick, thank you. Well, Jurickson Profar DHing and batting leadoff. First of all, though, Tom's going to tell you about the Seattle Mariners lineup.
The Mariners will start off with Sean O'Malley, the center fielder. Franklin Gutierrez on a 9-game hitting streak is batting second in right field. Robinson Cano's a .331 hitter in his last 32 games. He's third. Nelly Cruz is the DH. Dae-Ho Lee swinging a hot bat is at first base. Kyle Seager, a .400 hitter in his last 125 at-bats, is at third base. Chris Iannetta is the catcher. Stephan Romero is in left field batting 8th. And batting 9th, the shortstop, Luis Sardinas.
And that lineup facing Martin Perez in the first pitch of tonight's ball game to Sean O'Malley is a bit low for ball 1. O'Malley, a switch hitter, batting at 148 leading off tonight. Line drive off the glove of Beltre. It caroms to Andrews. The throw, and they got it. Well, Beltre had to react in a hurry. That ball was a bullet, and he deflected it right to his infield partner, Elvis Andrews, who made a strong throw for the out.
Pretty nice teamwork right there, right off the tip of Adrian's glove, which is about the only place it probably could have hit his glove and had the same result. Just deflected it right to Elvis, who backhands it and throws him out at first base. Nice way to start the game.
Your typical 5-6-3 put out to start things. Well, one gone. Here's Franklin Gutierrez, who takes a strike. Gutierrez, one of the hotter hitting Mariners, a 9-game hitting streak alive as he comes into play here tonight. I remember remarking last night. First of all, we're going to show you about Martin Perez, the numbers for the 25-year-old southpaw. His 12th start, that's the tops on the team. 3-4, but he's won his last couple. And he has been very impressive. You saw, if you're with us for the pregame show, you saw the numbers for May, how much improved they were over the month of April. Dropped his ERA just about in half. And Martin doing a great job, and the last 2 times out, and Tom, you mentioned this, he has been a markedly different player out there. Very, very tough to rattle, and seems very confident in what he's doing.
Sure does.
2 balls and 2 strikes now to Gutierrez. Franklin Gutierrez, 5 home runs, 15 driven in. .263 average overall. Getting the start tonight in right field against the southpaw Martin Perez, and the pitch is in the dirt, so the count has gone full. Gutierrez batting in the second slot. He'll be followed by Robinson Cano, the second baseman. At home this year, Martin has been very good. 3-1 with that ERA of 2.23. Opponents hitting just .237, and he's won his last 2 starts in this ballpark. On 3-2, he gets a swinging strike 3 for his first punch out. So 2 gone, and while we have a second, we will show you the Ranger defense is delivered to you by Chicken Express. Ryan Rua, Ian Desmond, and Nomar Mazzara, left, center, and right. Moreland and Odor. Nice to see Rubnet back out there on the right side of the infield. You saw Elvis and Adrian team up for that first ground out. Brian Holiday catching tonight, and Martin Perez on the hill. So 2 up, 2 away. Now Robinson Cano will step in. Cano, a career best 32-game on-base streak. He extended that last night with a double in the 6th inning. He had a couple of 31-game streaks before in his career, but this is the first time that he's been able to get past that. Off to a great start, 16 home runs, 48 driven in this year. Good pitch by Martin, kind of tied him up inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cano, as you noticed, just 2 out of 9 against Perez in previous matchups. Another chopper foul, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Robinson Cano, look at the American League ranks. He's 2nd in RBI. He has the most road RBIs. 30 of his 48 have come away from Safeco Park. 31 extra base hits, that's good for 3rd, and 16 home runs is good for 3rd. 10 road home runs. So he is a big reason why the Mariners have the 2nd best road record in all of baseball. They are 19-9 starting play here tonight. Only the Cubs with a better away percentage. Scott Service Club really has played well away from Safeco Field. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now Martin Perez against the Mariners. This is the 7th start he has had against them. Make it his 8th start. 2-2 with a 3.43 lifetime. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. This was a matchup for Martin Perez, the 2nd game of the season. But Martin pitched very effectively in 6 innings and just 2 hits, 2 runs. He got a no decision in that ball game. And another pitch fouled out of play. Well, the Mariners trailing the Rangers by a full game now after last night's Ranger win. The Rangers have increased their lead to that 1 full games, the most they've had this year over the 2nd place club. Looking to advance that tonight with a win. Mariners at 31-23. Very impressive though offensively this year for Seattle. And there's a base hit for Cano. Make that 33 consecutive games that he's reached base. The 2-out single. Cano aboard, and now Nelly Cruz coming up.
Now, a lot of the Mariner hitters are hot right now. That's a pretty good pitch. Inside, not a strike. This shows the kind of hitter that Cano is and the way he's swinging the bat right now. He's hit .331 the last month. Gets a base hit to start his day here in the 1st inning against Martin Perez. Now, Gutierrez has been hot. Lee has been hot. Seager's been hot. They got a lot of hot hitters in their lineup. They've been scoring some runs.
Well, here's Cruz at 292. That is out of play. Now, one thing about this Mariner club, you'll notice right away, they have a lot of guys, as you mentioned, Tom, that are swinging the bats well. They also have a lot of guys under Scott Service that are going up there looking for the first pitch that they can turn it loose on. They have turned into a first ball, fastball hitting ball club. They have done a lot of damage early in a count this year. And that wasn't something we could say about Seattle hitters before this year. It's all come together for him, and Edgar Martinez, their hitting coach, along with Scott Service, making him a very aggressive bunch of hitters. It's on the inside corner. A ball and 2 strikes.
And I guess the guy that epitomizes that has been Robinson Cano. When he swung at the first pitch and put it in play, he's hit .524. Martin threw him a slider out of the strike zone on the first pitch, so that he couldn't add to that .524. It's probably not a bad idea.
If I remember right, 524 is a pretty good average.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
You got to hit more than half the time.
Changeup. And Cruz able to lay off of it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Pretty good job laying off that pitch after a fastball for a strike. A lot of hitters swing at that pitch, given the same opportunity.
This hasn't been a very favorable matchup for Martin Perez. You saw Cruz 3 out of 4 against the Ranger left-hander. The 2-2 offering. Down the right side, Mazzara a long run, but he's going to run out of real estate. That's back in the 3rd row. And we'll reset and try it again at 2-2. Well, the Mariners right on top in the home run race. Matter of fact, they lead all of baseball with those 80 home runs. Baltimore second. And Tampa Bay, surprisingly, Tampa Bay is 3rd. Edgar Martinez, who took over as the hitting coach for the Mariners last year, and the Mariner fans trace back to the time Edgar took over to the resurgence of the Mariner offense. Low and inside, and for the 2nd straight hitter now, Martin Perez has gone to a full count. So with 2 outs, Cano will be off and moving with the next Martin Perez pitch. If Cruz keeps this inning alive, Dejo Lee, the first baseman, will follow. Martin okays the sign, a check of Cano. Runner on the move, payoff pitch. Skied to shallow right field. Odor going out, Mazzara coming out. Odor makes the catch. Welcome back, Woogie. Nice play for Odor in medium right field. And that'll do it for the Mariners. No runs a hit, and they leave 1. After half inning of play, no score. Out the Southwest Airlines Rangers batting order.
Well, Jurickson Profar with a 7-game hitting streak is leading off. He's DHing today. Ian Desmond is second. Nomar Mazzara again will bat 3rd. Adrian Beltre, fresh off a 5 RBI game, is at 3rd base. Rougned Odor back in the lineup will hit 5th. Ryan Rua gets a start in left field. Mitch Moreland is at first base. Elvis Andrus is hitting 4 straight. He'll play shortstop, and Brian Holiday is the catcher, batting 9th.
In that lineup for Jeff Bannister, facing the 28-year-old right-hander Nathan Carnes, a product of Arlington Martin High School. The first pitch to Jurickson Profar is ball 1. There's the scouting report on Nathan: a fastball, curveball, changeup specialist, an above-average fastball, and a very good curveball. Hottest starter right now for the Mariners. He's won a career-best 5 consecutive decisions. Rangers really haven't seen him all that much. A couple of times with Tampa Bay. And they don't have a real good book on it, so they're going to try and see a few more pitches than normal early in the ball game if they possibly can. Only 2 Rangers on the current team have had base hits against Cards. Profar not able to catch up with that fastball at up around the letters. 2-1. Now, Jurickson, a 7-game hitting streak. Go ahead, Tom.
I was just going to say, Buzz, this was a really good trade for Seattle to get a young starter with this kind of an arm. He's got a really good arm, good assortment of pitches.
To center field, a dive, and is by O'Malley. Backed up by Gutierrez, but Profar, in the meantime, in at second with a leadoff double. Profar with an 8-game hitting streak.
Jurickson swinging the bat exceptionally well, hitting a lot of balls right on the screws. O'Malley chose to try to make a diving catch. It looked like he got to the ball. Let's see what happened with his glove in the ball. Fastball right down the middle of the plate, hit solidly to center field. And O'Malley looked like the ball went a little bit to the side of the glove. And underneath to the side. Nice try, couldn't quite get to it.
Did it look like to you on that replay that he wasn't really sure which way to turn his glove?
Yeah, it did.
As he was diving, it kind of looked like he was hesitating a little bit. Rangers will take it. Now the bunt from Desmond, it's a good one. And there's confusion between Iannetta and Carnes, and everybody's safe. A base hit for Desmond. On to third is Profar. The Rangers with runners at the corners and nobody out.
Well, you know that Ian is going to do whatever he can to get on base himself, but more importantly to move the runner to third. I've seen him several times hit the ground ball to the right side. That time he chose to bunt. And he laid down a bunt right between the catcher and the pitcher. A little bit of miscommunication. Don't know if it would have mattered with Desmond's speed. Well, Ian not only moved the man from second to third, got himself a base hit as well.
No, Rangers at the corners now. And Nomar Mazara stepping to the plate. Mazara had a 2-hit night last night. 2 for 3 with an RBI. Mariners play the infield back up the middle. They will give up the run if they have a shot at a double play. And Ian Desmond, and you need to keep a close eye on Desmond. He has been running with abandon lately. He's 4th in the American League with 11 stolen bases. Chris Iannetta, at least when he was with the Angels, was a favorite target for Ranger base runners. Nothing in 1 on the foul ball. Mazara, that .305 average with 9 home runs. That is now second on the club. Adrian Beltre hit his 10th last night. 25 runs driven in for Mazara. Twice the American League Rookie of the Month, both April and May of this year. And Carnes another calling card. And Desmond back easily. American League leaders, and Desmond moving up that list pretty nicely. Altuve with 16 leads, but then it's Billy Burns and Rajai Davis with a dozen. Ellsbury and Desmond next with 11. 0-1 the count. And you can see other teams have found the going pretty easy against Seattle. They have run a lot against them. 37 stolen bases allowed this year by the Mariners. That's the most in the league. That pitch in at the knees. Mazara expressing his dislike to Eric Cooper. But it's 0-2. Right at the bottom of the zone. Nathan Carnes okays the sign. A check of the runners. To left field. That is going to be deep enough to score Profar. Romero with a catch. The throw comes into second as Profar comes down across home plate. And on the sacrifice fly by Nomar Mazara, the Rangers take a 1-0 lead.
That's one of the things that's been impressive about Nomar. He's down in the count 0-2. He's not trying to pull this pitch. He's just trying to put it in play. It's a fastball, maybe located a little bit better in the strike zone than Carnes wanted it. Nomar hit it solidly to left field to pick up a run.
Well, that's his 5th sacrifice fly of the year, and he came into play tonight tied for the league lead with 4. So I would assume that puts him at least on top right now. No, 1 away. Here's Beltre. Again, Desmond drawing the attention of Nathan Carnes. Beltre, another huge night last night, a 5 RBI night, his second 5 RBI night against the Mariners this year. Against the team for whom he played for 5 years. Nice stop by Iannetta. 1 ball and no strikes. Now Adrian, a night last night that saw him go 2 for 3, a home run, a double, increased his hitting streak to 8 consecutive ball games, and those numbers will tell you he has been more than just on a streak. He has been hot and on that streak at .419. 1 ball and 1 strike. Adrian's double last night moved him past former Ranger Ivan Rodriguez on the all-time list. One pitch, just off the outer edge. Our TXU Energy Power Player to Watch, that man on your screen, and that double last night we were talking about the 573rd of Adrian Beltre's illustrious career, 3rd most among active players, and he passed up Pudge for 24th all time. Beltre to right center field, going back O'Malley, and he's able to get there in time. Back to first is Desmond. They're down 2 outs with Rougned Odor coming up. And we'll take a look at the rest of the Mariner defense for you. Saw Sean O'Malley in center. He's flanked by Stefano Romero in left and Franklin Gutierrez in right. Dejo Lee and Robinson Cano on the right side. Luis Sardinas and Kyle Seager on the left, and Chris Iannetta catching. And Rougned Odor getting a standing ovation from the Ranger faithful here at Globe Life Park. Don't see many guys just coming back from the suspended list that get a standing ovation, do you?
No, that the connection he made in that Toronto game is better than a grand slam to the fans.
Yep. Now Odor, as you can see, 7 home runs, 25 RBI, and 262 is the average. Carnes going first base way to drive Desmond back. Rougned, if you remember back before, well, a little more than a week ago, was having some problems. He had fallen into kind of an offensive malaise. He was just 3 for his last 24 times at the plate. Had an opportunity to see if he can start a new streak going the opposite way here. 1 ball and 1 strike. Odor just one of the handful of Rangers with some at-bats against Nathan Carnes. There's that 3 for 24 we were talking about. Odor 0 for 2 in previous matchups with the right-hander. There goes Desmond, and the pitch is looped to left field. Desmond's just going to keep on going. That ball falls for a base hit. Odor with a little looper into left for a single. And the Rangers again runners at the corners here in the first inning.
That's a pretty good fastball. Carnes has a good arm. His fastball is 92 to 95. Ruby takes a little slip, but it doesn't matter. He's not going to go anywhere other than to first base anyway. Desmond running on the play. Wasn't sure exactly where the ball was. But once he picked it up, was easily able to get to third base.
So 3 hits in the inning, a run across. Ryan Rua looking to make it more. Rua, 296 average. He has been one of the hotter Rangers of late. Getting a chance now to start on a daily basis in left field. There's that good breaking ball from Carnes. 0-1. Ryan 2 for 3 last night. The last 9 ball games, Rua has hit .455. You hit .455, it's going to earn you a little more playing time. Defensively, the Mariners on the infield, maybe a step and a half or 2 steps around to the left. Outfield just about straight away. Rangers with good speed on the base paths. Desmond at third and Odor at first. In the dirt, Iannetta able to keep that out in front of home plate. It's a ball and a strike. Hector Ortiz, Ranger first base coach, along with Rougned Odor over there. '18th pitch of this first inning coming up for Nathan Carnes. Two and one. Carnes went from Arlington Martin High School, spent a year at North Carolina State, and then transferred over to Texas Tech. Finished up his collegiate work out there. Drafted by the Atlanta Braves. Eventually traded to Tampa Bay and then on to Seattle this last year. There goes Odor. The pitch is chopped right down the line at fair ball. Desmond scores. Odor just keeps on moving. He will score. It's a 2-run double for Rua, and the Rangers lead it 3-0.
Another big first inning. Yesterday was Beltre's 3-run homer. This time the Rangers string together some hits, and Ryan Rua keeps earning playing time with the way he's playing the game right now. Watch how close this ball is to being foul. That's right over the corner of the bag. Good call by Gary Cederstrom. He saw that ball all the way. Takes a carom. Rugi's on the run, and he'll score easily on that play.
Well, Odor's been able to check off a lot of things here in his first inning back. He had a good defensive play, got a base hit, scored from first on a double, got a good jump. Got a lot of things that he's marking off that, yeah, I've done that already. And he has seen his ball club take a 3-0 lead here in the first. Here's Mitch Moreland with Rua at second base. Well, the Rangers continue to get good production with runners in scoring position this year, too. And Mitch had a pretty good rip at that Carnes fastball. It is 0-1. Rangers coming into play tonight, second in the American League and third in the major leagues. Hitting with runners in scoring position. Rangers came in at 296. Boston at 297, and the Cardinals 302, leading all of baseball. Carnes a little inside move, and Rua not going anywhere. Well, Nathan Carnes, who had been very, very solid, kind of falling into the problems that the other starters for the Mariners have had in the last week. Gets a strike. It's 0-2. Last 8 ball games, Mariners starters have only been able to work 41 innings. That's an average of just barely over 5 innings per start. Puts an awful lot of burden on the bullpen. Their offense is what has been carrying them. They've gotten behind early, and the offense has rallied to get all the wins that they've had. Again, Iannetta able to drop down and block that. And for Mitch Moreland, that spray chart will show you most of the ground balls are pulled to the right side. The fly balls up the middle for the most part. Left center, right center. The overshift is dictated by that 33% that you saw out towards second base. And that's where
As you're talking about the Seattle starting staff struggling a little bit, they're also out without Felix Hernandez, their ace, is on the disabled list right now, which doesn't help.
Yeah, Felix strained a calf muscle, as I understand it, celebrating
someone else's home run.
a walk-off home run. Is that what it was?
I think so.
Wow, you know things aren't going your way when that happens. 2-2 to Mitch. He's tired of waiting, so he backs out. Moreland, half a dozen home runs. As you noticed, 21 RBI. Rua getting a pretty good lead out there at second base. Got him swinging. Carnes able to get the strikeout. He pulled the string a bit, and that'll do it. But Rangers put 3 on the board on 4 hits, and they leave 1. After 1, it's the Rangers 3, the Mariners nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Coverage of baseball sponsored by T-Mobile. News today out of San Diego that the White Sox had traded for pitcher James Shields along with cash from the Padres. Padres received Fernando Tatis Jr., a prize prospect infielder, and pitcher Eric Johnson. Sonny Gray be activated off the disabled list tomorrow and start for the A's against the Astros. Replaces the injured Rich Hill. Well, Martin Perez out to start the second, now with a 3-run advantage to protect. Dae-Ho Lee, the first hitter, and he takes strike 2, and Martin right out after the first hitter in the inning. Dae-Ho Lee, a .310 average. Little looper into center field, that's going to be a base hit. Well, Lee, who had a multi-hit game last night, singles in his first at-bat here this evening. He is aboard for Kyle Seager. And before Seeger steps in, let's say hello to Jim Knox.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. Great crowd here at Globe Life Park tonight. Like we have the Hess family in from Paris, Texas. Dad's leading the charge tonight. What do you got going on, Dad?
We got it going on right here. We got 10 of us from Paris right here, having a great time.
All right, you got anything to say then?
We want to go Rangers, go Odor.
There we go. All right, good to have you out here. All right, appreciate it, Buzz.
All right, Knoxie. Rougned Odor is going to run for mayor here pretty quick, I think. Kyle Seager against Martin Perez. 1 on, nobody out. Seager a .299 average. Takes that one inside to even the count. Kyle Seager, we talked about the numbers against Martin Perez. 10 for 22. 3 of those home runs. Has a .455 average. And Seager has been just about that hot in this ballpark in his career. Chopper to Odor. 1 back to first. Not in time. Kind of an in-between ground ball. Mitch thought about going for it at first, and then Odor either called him off, or Mitch just said, well, he can get it. And Elvis couldn't quite get enough on the throw to finish off the double play.
They came pretty close. It didn't look like this would be any type of a double play, as far away from second base as Odor was when he caught the slow chopper. But he gives a great feed to Elvis. Comes across the bag, and Rangers checked the replay, decided not to challenge it. And you'll see why right there.
Yeah, just that close. And we might remind you, as long as that just took place, that Martin Perez gets more ground ball double plays turned behind him than anybody on the Ranger Ball Club. 17 of them this year. Matter of fact, more than anybody in the American League. Chris Iannetta takes low and inside for ball 1. Martin Perez, 17 of them, and Jay Happ, the next closest pitcher, with a dozen. Change up, that floats over the outer edge. 1 ball and 1 strike. Iannetta a .203 average with 4 home runs. He has driven home a dozen. 7 previous matchups against Perez. Sliced down the right field line. In pursuit is Mazzara. It's right on the line and bounces in to the stands. Boy, that was very, very close. First base umpire Jim Wolf quite a ways down that line, and he had a good look at it and said that drew chalk.
Adding 8, the left fielder, number 17, 7, Romero.
Had a good look at it from here.
Boy, that drew the right side of the chalk.
Sure did. Yep, you can see that chalk kick up.
Yeah.
So, second and third now. Still just 1 out. Stephen Romero will step in. Romero hitting at just 200. Rangers play the infield back. 1 ball and no strikes. Romero without a home run. He has driven in just 1. He's been up and down a couple of times. Last time that he was called back up was when Leonis Martin had to go on the disabled list. Perez with a 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. This is where Martin Perez had really shown some progress the last 2 times out. Tom, you mentioned about his ability to settle down and make quality pitches when he got into a spot. He's in a spot right now. Good pitch in on the fists of Romero.
Yeah, and I think you have to say to yourself, look, it's not like they just hit a couple of balls hard. One was a little jam shot blooper to center. The other was a blooper down the right field line. So he's made good pitches. He gave up a couple of hits, but not because he didn't make good pitches. Just keep making those good pitches. It'll work out.
So Seager at third, Iannetta at second. 2 balls and a strike. To center field. Desmond retreating a couple of steps, makes the catch. Tagging at third is Seager. The throw comes into third. Kyle Seager scores, and the sacrifice fly off the bat of Stephen Romero makes it a 3-1 Ranger lead.
Adding 9, the shortstop, number 16, Luis Sardinus.
So 2 away, and now the shortstop Luis Sardinas coming up as Elvis Andrus and Ryan Holiday out to confer with Martin Perez. Luis Sardinas, former Ranger, he's a switch hitter, hitting at an even 200 with a couple of home runs and 5 driven in. Iannetta, the lead from second. Ball 1 is a bit low. And we've talked about it with Martin on the mound. One of the things you'll notice when he starts speeding things up a little bit is mechanics get quicker, his movements around the mound get quicker. Here's a good changeup. Haven't seen that happen yet to him right now. Looks like he's pretty much in control of himself. Doug Brocail works an awful lot with Martin about those things, about the breathing, about keeping things on an even keel, both physically and mentally. Another good changeup.
Try it again.
Martin would say at one point he felt like he was trying to get 3 outs with 1 pitch instead of just going pitch by pitch and hitter by hitter. He wanted to have it all happen at one time, get out of that jam.
Sardinas has been up 55 times without a walk, so he's probably going to swing. Just keep it away from the middle of the plate.
He tried to change up one more time, and that time Luis would not offer. 2-2. See Sean O'Malley, the leadoff hitter in that on-deck circle. Tried the breaking ball, and the count now is full. Here's Sean O'Malley. He will follow, and hopefully for Martin Perez, he will face O'Malley next inning. Mariners have been tough with 2 outs this year. As you notice, second most 2-out RBI to Boston. We'll regroup and try it one more time.
They threw him another changeup. Threw it for a strike, too. Sardinas was able to get a piece of it. A lot of pitches right now for Martin. This will be his 42nd pitch coming up. Kind of started with Cano. He got the first 2 hitters of the game quickly. Since then, the Mariners have had some long at-bats, making them work.
Now the left-hander sets a check of second. Inside, ball 4. A little bit low on top of that. So first and second now, and that turns the lineup over, takes him back to the top of the order. And Doug Brocail going to go out and check with the left-hander and make sure that things are not getting to where they don't want them to be. A little coaching him down a little bit instead of coaching him up. Calm down and take it easy. Our Kubota Power Stats looking at Martin Perez, the 2.23 ERA in May, the lowest monthly ERA in his career. That covers starts that he's had 2 or more starts in a month. It was strong, and he has had to escape a few of these jams. First pitch to O'Malley misses for ball 1. John O'Malley out to start things here tonight. Hit a line drive that caromed off Adrian Beltre's glove, but right to Elvis Andrus, who threw him out. The 1-0 pitch.
Well, Martin's been on such a nice roll. Month of May, He had 6 starts. He went 2-2. His ERA was 2.23. Probably as much as he's struggled in his last 6 or 7 starts.
Went with a changeup, and that didn't get the call. 3 balls and no strikes. And Rougned Odor will visit.
Yeah, you don't want to be pitching carefully enough to walk Sardinas and O'Malley. You don't want to get it to the next guys. They're hot. Gutierrez, Cano, Cruz. Yep. Sardinas hitting 200. O'Malley's hitting 148. Sardinas, that was his first walk of the year.
3-0 pitch on the way. Perez with the next one. Hard hit, but right to the guy with the glove at third. Adrian Beltre steps on the bag. That will do it. Mariners get a run, but they strand a couple. We'll move to the bottom of the second. It's the Rangers 3, the Mariners 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. A gorgeous night here at Globe Life Park. Rangers leading 3-1 as they come to bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Elvis Andrus, Brian Holiday, and then Jurickson Profar to face Nathan Carnes. Rangers scored 3 runs on 4 hits in the first. Elvis, a .294 average. Carnes misses with the first pitch curveball, 1-0. Elvis, a home run, 18 driven in. Two balls, no strikes. Elvis has gotten things turned around, going the right direction as far as his offense is concerned. A 4-game hitting streak coming into play here tonight. He's hit .412 in those 4 games. And Carnes missing badly inside. 3 balls, no strikes. Well, Elvis trying to get aboard to start the Rangers second. Brian Holiday, the catcher, will follow. And ball 4. 4-pitch walk. Elvis aboard. Here comes Holiday. And again, another opportunity for the Rangers to run if they would choose to.
Yeah, both pitchers being forced to throw a lot of pitches. Rangers thrown 28 pitches without an out in the second inning. And Bryant's been swinging a hot bat. Last 10 games, he's hit .375. Rangers coming into this game are 8-1 in Bryant's last 9 starts.
Holiday at .254 with the average. Couple of home runs, 12 driven in. Elvis a modest lead at first. Like he was pretty much taken all the way and looked at strike one. Holiday a 3-game hitting streak. And over the last 10 ball games, as you can see, a .375 average. Big hole on that right side with Cano playing pretty much straight up the middle. Was he able to check the swing? No, he was not. Jim Wolf bringing up that right fist. 0-2. Iannetta flashing the signs out. Now Carnes ready. Ball in the dirt, and Elvis, great anticipation, boy. As soon as that ball went down and he saw it was going to bounce, he took off before it ever got to Iannetta.
No hesitation at all.
I think that ball could have come straight up in Iannetta's glove and it wouldn't have mattered.
No, it didn't matter. Almost looked like a stolen base.
You ought to get half a stolen base for that. I know it's a wild pitch, but
well, there's some people that would still be at first base.
yeah,
that's for sure.
Quite a few. Now 1-2 to Holiday, and that evens the count. Brian, the TCUX. Well, he and Bobby Wilson doing a great job, both offensively and handling the pitching staff also. They have been just fantastic. Chopper foul. We'll come back and try it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rangers, as you can see, a .299 team average with runners in scoring position. Elvis has himself out there at second with nobody out here. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Brian Holiday able to go from 0-2 to 3-2. He is trying to get aboard to join Elvis Andrus. Jurickson Profar, the Ranger DH'd, is in the on-deck circle. Pitch number 35 for Nathan Carnes coming up. Cano going out with his back to home plate. And he makes the catch. Out number 1.
Designated hitter, Jurickson Profar.
Well, Carnes gets 1 out. Andrews still at second. Jurickson Profar, who hit a sinking line drive to center for a double his first time. Cano making that about as casual a put out as you're going to see.
Yeah, he's a pretty relaxed player. That's just his style.
Profar extending his hitting streak to 8 straight ball games. Ball 1. Profar also, this is his 14th start in the leadoff spot in his career. He has hit safely in all 14 of them. And that's it's not an insignificant number. He's hitting .323 as a leadoff man coming into play tonight. He's already 1 for 1. 14 consecutive games as a leadoff hitter. That's the longest in Ranger history. Checked his swing on the breaking ball. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Elvis began the inning by walking on 4 pitches. He advanced on a wild pitch. Erickson Profar trying to pick him up, expand that Ranger lead, which right now is 3-1. Elvis going to third. The pitch is outside. The throw is low, and Elvis has swiped third.
Oh, he was lucky. They were lucky that ball didn't go in the left field. The ball bounced. Seager had to smother it to keep the ball from going into left field, which would have allowed Elvis to score. Big jump. Throw bounces. It looks like it. The only reason he blocked it was it hit him. No, hit his side of his glove, and then it hit his knee. Otherwise, it would have gone into left field.
Well, Elvis now at third base. 3-0 the count to Profar. And ball 4 puts him aboard. Well, a couple of walks in the inning. Runners at the corners with 1 out. Scott Service looking out to a bullpen that has been used and abused. Seattle in the last 8 or 9 days has really had to use a lot of relievers. We mentioned the starters, only 41 innings in the previous 8 ball games. That bullpen has had to pick up a lot of slack.
Now, last night, Taijuan Walker threw a ton of pitches, was in trouble early in the game at a time when you would expect the bullpen to at least get up and start throwing. But because of how hard the bullpen had been worked, he was asked to stick it out, which he did, and got through 5 innings, battled as best he could. Carnes has thrown a lot of pitches so far tonight. This will be his 40th pitch.
And here's Ian Desmond, who laid down a bunt and beat it out for a base hit first time up. Going to second is Profar, and he will be in there with no throw as that ball just slipped away from Iannetta a bit. And now Scott Service is motioning to his infielders, come on in. I would imagine looking at that replay to be ruled a wild pitch, just skipping out of the dirt.
You get the infield in, you get men at second and third. Little blooper has a better chance to fall in. A ground ball has a better chance of getting through, and solid speed on the bases. A hot hitter at the plate.
Yeah, the Vapor Trail has a much better chance of getting through there too. Our Ford leaderboard, that one multi-hit games, and moving up that list very quickly, Ian Desmond. Xander Bogaerts with 24 of them, but Desmond with 21. And he kind of got a late start, like about 3 weeks later than most people. The 2-0 pitch. Taking all the way, and it's 2-1. We talked about with Ian Desmond before this lengthy streak started 42 games ago, back on the 19th of April. Desmond was hitting $1.09. 109, and that's a lot of work. There's a base hit to left field. Andrews scores. Profar stopped at third. The throw, now they've got Desmond in a rundown. And here comes Profar. The throw by Cano, and they get Profar at the plate. Desmond goes to second. Cano has an uncanny ability to throw from his hip. And he made the throw to Iannetta.
I think Ian thought that this ball was going to go over the cutoff man's head. It looked like he avoided the tag when he went by him, but he can't get back to tag the plate before Iannetta comes back and slaps the tag on him.
Well, Ranger video men are taking a real close look at this one, because I'm not so sure that left hand didn't get in there.
Took him a while to touch the right hand.
Yeah. Watch that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Jeff Bannister is going to go out and have a little chat with Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire. And he's saying that we want you to chat. We want the play challenge. We want to make sure also that the review of where the catcher was, that he gave him a sliding lane to a lane to home plate.
Goes to tag his right arm. And I don't know if he got his arm before the left hand touched the base.
Boy, that is going to be tough.
I don't know if there's a definitive angle that will show both hands. He misses him.
That's a miss right there.
He's still missed him. He's going to come back and try to tag his right hand. He hasn't touched it yet. I don't think he ever touched it, unless he touched above his elbow. The left hand got in there. It really looked like he got the left hand in before his right elbow got tagged. Hasn't touched him, and there's the tag. I think he's safe.
Saw Elvis immediately calling for a review, which you would figure he would, but it's with good reason. Where did the tag occur? The tag occurred somewhere down there.
If he touched him, he tagged him above the elbow. And it looked like he tagged him after the hand touched the base. I don't think he ever made contact with him.
Well, the challenge has been issued, and Eric Cooper, the home plate umpire, and Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, with the headsets on, they're in touch with the replay command center back in New York, and the call on the field is out. So if there is clear and convincing evidence to overturn it, it will be overturned. And if not, the play will stand. And they also, as we were talking about, the collision rule at home plate, or the catcher having to allow a sliding lane or a clear path to part of the plate for the runner. And that was what Jeff Bannister pointed out to Eric Cooper when he went out there first. And as he was issuing the challenge, that is automatically looked at the same time. Again, Profar avoiding or sliding around Iannetta and then trying to get back to the back door, if you will, of home plate.
I think he's got to be safe. If he tagged him, it took a long time to tag. Well, I'm going to call him out.
Call him out.
I don't know where he tagged him.
That was probably, it's going to call is confirmed. So apparently they saw enough of a tag there to rule him out.
They got better eyes than we do.
Now batting the right fielder, Nomar Mazara.
So there is a run across. Desmond gets 1 RBI. He's now at second base with 2 outs, and Nomar Mazara coming up. Mazara had a sacrifice fly back in the first inning. 4-1 Rangers. The pitch off the inside corner for ball 1. Nomar now 26 runs driven in. '26 RBI, the most by an American League rookie. And ball 2 is low and outside. Now Nathan Carnes forced to work overtime, and he got himself in hot water with the 2 walks and the first 3 hitters in this inning.
It'd be even more overtime if they didn't get that out at the plate.
Yeah. Breaking ball. 3 balls and no strikes.
He's thrown 46 pitches. 25 of them have been balls.
Carnes working carefully to Mazara. You've got first base open, but you've also got Adrian Beltre in the on-deck circle. The 3-0 pitch. Mariner infield playing Mazara around to the right, not in an extreme overshift. Luis Sardinez, the shortstop, about 3 steps on the shortstop side of second. There's still a pretty good size hole at that shortstop spot. And ball 4. That puts 2 aboard for Adrian.
Omar walked a couple of times in last night's game. In fact, he walked a couple of times, had a couple of hits, a double, scored twice, and knocked in a run. Tonight he's got a sacrifice fly and another walk.
While we have a second here, we'd like to remind you the Rangers face the Mariners in the final game of this 3-game set tomorrow afternoon. It's a 2:05 first pitch, and the first 15,000 fans 14 and older to the ballpark receive a Cole Hamels t-shirt. That's a Cole Hamels t-shirt jersey, and it's courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you still have time to call 972-RANGERS if you prefer. Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach for the Mariners, out to have a chat with Nathan Carnes. Carnes has walked 3 in the inning, giving up 1 hit. And now he's got to face the top RBI man on the Rangers, Adrian Beltre, who has 40 of them so far this year and had 5 last night. Adrian, a fly ball to center, his first time up there. One ball and no strikes. Beltre has, coming into play, just one of the 2 base hits active Rangers against Carnes. He is 1 for 6 now, and he's ahead of the count, 2-0. Carnes had only given up 2 hits to current Rangers, the other to Prince Fielder. They were both singles. But the Rangers have put 5 hits on the board here in the first 2 innings tonight. Three balls and no strikes.
He's really struggling with his command. That's 29 balls, 22 strikes. Ton of pitches this inning, and no one warming up in the bullpen.
Desmond at second, Mazzara at first. Don't you know that Adrian has a green light if he sees something to his liking here. Inside, almost hit him. And that's going to load the bases for Rougned Odor. 4 walks in the inning. The most Nathan Carnes had walked in a game this year has been 4. Did that a couple of times early against the Yankees against Cleveland. That was 5 1/3 innings of work. He's walked 4 here in the second tonight.
After Rugi right here, he's having a hard time throwing strikes, so you don't want to help him out. He's going to be very aggressive here, but make him get it up, get in the strike zone.
Odor looped a single into left his first time up there. And Carnes going back to the windup, able to drop that breaking ball in. And could very well be that this is much more comfortable for him to work out of the windup. He and Desmond distracting him coming down that line at third. Oh, 0-1 the count. Chop foul, and Carnes now the advantage at 0-2. Odor with runners in scoring position this year, a .270 hitter. Got the bases full of Ranger teammates. Got him swinging. Well, Carnes able to work around 4 walks in the inning. He gives up a run but leaves the bases full. We will go on to the third. It's now the Rangers 4 and the Mariners 1 on Fox Sports Southwest.
leading 4-1 here in the top of the third. My distinct pleasure, Rick Renner here with Stan Lee, the man who threw out the first pitch to the game. He's a big-time creator, the creator of Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Captain America. How would you describe your first pitch if you were one of those characters?
I wish it was better. I couldn't quite reach the plate, but my heart was in it, and that's all that matters. I had the right intention. 93 years young. I thought you did pretty good out there. Now, you were a lifetime Yankee fan way back in the day, but the Rangers have won you over tonight. What do you think of these guys? I love the Texas Rangers. They are my team from now on. These people are great, and I love watching them play. And I just wish I had hit home plate when I threw the damn ball.
We got one out here now. Rugi Odor, his big return tonight. You saw the punch that was heard around the world. Which one of your characters would be Rugi Odor, you think?
Probably the Hulk. No, he's great, Rubio, and I was so thrilled to see him and to learn the little background about the pitch and about hitting the guy.
Yeah.
Exciting. This team is made up of the greatest people, and the people managing them are great, and I've just never had a better time.
I know they enjoyed meeting you, and it's amazing how many movies have been made and the longevity of what your work has gone, and you still make those cameos, right?
Oh, those cameos, they're so important to me. I'm the only cameo specialist in the world, but I got to correct on one little thing you said. I did not create Captain America. He was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, but I'm the guy who brought him to the fore again. But I created all the other ones. Okay.
I'm just going to give you credit for all these guys. Well, you're in town for the Dallas Expo, a lot of fun. It's Comic-Con. I know people can meet you tomorrow, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be at the con tomorrow. I'll be looking forward only to Texas Ranger fans. Nobody else need apply.
All those comic strippers out there, they know about Marvel, but what about POW Entertainment? Tell me about
POW Entertainment is a little company I also am with. And obviously, you've already figured out that POW, P-O-W, stands for Purveyors of Wonder. And we have a number of movies in the works. We have one called oh, that's great. I forgot the name. But anyway.
You're 93. It's easy.
The Annihilator.
There you go.
Yeah, the Annihilator. It's being made in China with a Chinese star, but it's an all-around-the-world movie. And we have another one called The Realm of the Tiger. And it's really going. Oh, we have a television series that's on in England now.
Whoa.
And it's called the Stan Lee's Lucky Man. And it's a big hit. They just signed for the second series, and it'll come over here soon. So I have to find time away from my cameos to try to do a couple other things.
You got to get a stand-in for your cameos.
No, I'll never do that. The cameos come first. I wanted to ask you if you'd like to do a cameo in one of my cameos.
I'd be more than happy to do that. And with that, I'll kick it upstairs to our two favorite cartoon characters, Buzz and Tom.
Wow. Thanks, Rick. 93 years
that
old.
That guy
is
tremendous.
Strong. Something else.
I'll tell you what, I couldn't see where the ball went, but at 93 years old, I hope I can throw a ball that well. I hope I've got his energy. I hope I have his memory. I know I won't have his creativity, but I'll take everything else. That was tremendous.
Yeah.
I love watching that. Good job, Rick.
And I'm a huge X-Man fan.
Are you?
Yeah. I love it.
How could you? What an imagination he must have.
Well, 2 outs here in the top of the third. Here's Nelly Cruz. Changeup floats over the outside corner. Yeah, that's pretty good throw.
That's pretty good mechanics right there. Didn't get there, but at 93, I'll take it. That was tremendous.
Gets his arm up a lot higher than I can get mine up, I'll tell you that. Cruz to center field. That ball's hit well. Desmond back at the wall. It's gone. Nelly Cruz with his 12th home run of the year. It is now a 4-2 Ranger lead.
He got a changeup, and he saw it and waited on it and hit it.
Well, for Cruz, that is his second career home run in 6 at-bats against Martin Perez.
No, slider. Off speed, down, and Nelly waited on it.
Dae-Ho Lee, who had a soft single to center his first time, takes ball one. One ball and one strike. Lee with that base hit, now up to 318 with the average. Good changeup. 1-2. Cruz's home run now runs the Mariner Major League leading total to 81 for the year. To the right side, Odor has a bead drawn on that, and that'll do it. Nelly Cruz hits his 12th home run of the year, and that's all Martin gives up. After 2.5, it's the Rangers 4, the Mariners 2. Monday right here at Globe Life Park. Rangers take on the Houston Astros, the first of 4 Monday night. First 15,000 fans 14 and older receive a Fox Sports Southwest Airlines Rangers cap. Get your tickets today for the at TexasRangers.com for the only cap giveaway of the year. It'll be right here on Monday night. Ryan Rua fouling back the first Nathan Karns pitch here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Rua had a big 2-run double, a 2-out 2-run double in the 1st inning. Ryan upping his RBI total to 11 for the year. A little bit high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rangers leading 4-2. They have out-hit the Mariners 5-4. It's a very offensively inclined game tonight. 2-1. Rangers have had their leadoff man aboard in each of the first 2 innings. And each time the leadoff man has come around to score. Two and two. Rule walking around like, oh, I'd like to get that one again.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good swings.
All right, AT&T high-speed internet replay showing you that double right down the line, right over the bag at 3rd. Rua driving in a couple. Pops this one off the fist, and Dae-Ho Lee, the first baseman, will have it. 1 gone.
First baseman, Mitch Moreland.
And before Mitch Moreland steps in, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. right, Don. John got a lot of grief of the fumble that he had last night. Moreland takes that breaking ball from Carnes in the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mitch went down swinging his first time to the plate. One pitch. Poked back into the seats on the left side. And the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Mitch now just 4 for his last 50 times to the plate. We were talking about this last night about how much that has to start wearing on you, or not start, but continue to wear on you. I would guess for the last 30 at bats or so, you know something's drastically wrong and you can't do anything about it.
Yep, he just needs to connect on one and have everything click. Into one of his hot streaks.
Carnes with a 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Well, Mitch strikes out for the second time tonight. That's 3 strikeouts for Carnes. 2 up, 2 away, and it'll bring up Elvis Andrus. Elvis steps to the plate, having walked and scored his first time up. One ball and no strikes. Elvis' leadoff walk in the second was the first of 4 walks the Rangers were given in that second inning. He also had a hit, but only came up with 1 run. Elvis, it's a rocket foul. Finally saw a strike from Carnes and missed by about a foot of hitting the third base bag with that. That had hit the bag, it might have ripped it right out of the ground. The appeal to first, and Jim Wolf said, nope, no swing. 2 balls and a strike. Big breaking ball, and that dips in. 2-2 to Andrus. Elvis, as we mentioned, a 4-game hitting streak. That's in the dirt. 3-2. So Elvis bidding to get aboard for the second time tonight. He's able to continue this second inning, or this third inning, I should say. Ryan Holiday, the Ranger catcher, will follow. Carnes with 70 pitches already here in the third inning. Hit hard by Seager down the left field line. Elvis going for 2, and he will make it standing as Romero is shaded toward left center a little bit. Able to cut it off before it gets to the corner, but had no chance to get Elvis. And Andrus now a 5-game hitting streak.
Well, Elvis ripped one just foul and then came back and ripped another one right by Seager. Fair. Got in front of that hanging curveball. Carnes just trying to throw a strike with it, which he did. And Elvis ripped it for a double. Elvis 8 for his last 18, hitting about .320 in his last 18 games. Well, he's getting hot again, just like he was earlier in the season.
No, Elvis in scoring position. That's the 6th Ranger hit of the night against Nathan Carnes. Here's Brian Holiday, who popped out to second his first time. I remember last inning when Carnes had to go to the stretch. Kind of lost track of the strike zone. Went back to the windup, got the strikeout of Odor to finish off the inning, but in between, there were 3 other walks besides the walk to Elvis to start the inning. Outside corner. 1-1. Elvis peering in from his leadoff vantage point out there at second. It's backing out of play. And it moves the count to a ball and 2 strikes. Hard hit into left field, a base hit. Elvis cuts third very closely and in to score on Brian Holiday's RBI single. It is 5-2 Rangers.
That's exactly what you want to do against a team like the Mariners. They score a lot of runs. They come from behind as much as anybody. You want to just keep scoring, and with 2 outs, that's just what the Rangers did. A double and a well-hit single past Sardinius by Holiday. Brian continues to swing the bat. Last 11 games, he's hitting about 380. Nice 2-strike approach. Got a good pitch to hit, and he hit it.
And 3 of the 5 Ranger runs now have come with 2 outs. So there's a drive to center field. Going back is O'Malley, and right in front of the warning track, O'Malley puts it away. Profar got the folks a little excited, but came up a bit short. Rangers, though, get a run on 2 hits and leave 1, and after 3, it's now Texas 5, Seattle 2 on Fox. Five to 2 Texas. As we head to the top of the 4th inning, Kyle Seager to start things off. He'll be followed by Chris Iannetta and Stephen Romero. And Martin Perez pumping in strike 1. Seager reached on a fielder's choice back in the 2nd inning. I guess that in itself is a cause for celebration. Didn't get a base hit. Seems like every time he puts on a Mariner uniform in this ballpark, he comes out swinging and getting base hits. Seven-game hitting streak. Seager is putting up video game numbers, a .586 average.
And Martin has done a pretty good job of that over his last few starts. Throw that sinking fastball into the left-hand hitters. And he's enjoyed some pretty good success with that. Now, Seager, since the end of April, has hit .400.
To left field, Rua shading him that way, crosses into foul territory, and Well, the ball just kept on slicing away from Ryan, but he stayed with it and made the nice catch.
The way he was going after that ball, I thought he was going to catch it in fair territory, but it kept slicing away, getting closer and closer to the wall, but he stayed with it, caught it right in the tip of his glove. And it's stuck in the tip of his glove.
I think he thought he was going to catch it in fair territory, too.
Yeah.
The way he looked surprised after that. Oh, nice play by Rua. That's one out. Here's Iannetta, who goes up the middle, and it's by Odor's dive. And Iannetta has his second hit of the evening. He doubled right on the chalk down the right field line his first time, and this time first ball swinging has a single. No, one on, one out. Stephan Romero now to come up.
Yeah, Steve Clevenger caught in last night's game. He had a walk, a run, double, and a single. He came into the game last night hitting below 200 and had a couple of hits. Iannetta hitting right at 200. He's had a couple of hits tonight.
And Romero takes the first pitch low for ball one. Romero had a sacrifice fly driving in his second run of the year. That back in the second inning. A little bit low. 2-0.
Throughout most of the early part of the season, the Rangers were having a hard time scoring for Martin. Has not had a lot of support, the third lowest run support in the league, but tonight he's got 5 early in the game. It's been a game where even with the lead, he's struggled with his command.
Yeah, he's falling behind Romero now. 3 balls and no strikes. Three and one.
What he needs for his pitch count right here is one of those double play balls.
That would be ideal. Martin's only walked one tonight, but he's had a lot of lengthy counts. The only walk he gave up was to the next hitter, Luis Sardinas. Out of play, and the count is full.
We're talking to the Mariner people. One thing they'll say about their offense is obviously they can hit, they can score, they're hot, but they also grind out their at-bats. They hit a lot of foul balls, they battle, they see a lot of pitches, they make the pitcher work. And tonight we're getting a pretty good example of that against Martin.
Our steel pitch tracker showing you the location of the 5 pitches. Payoff pitch to right center field. Mazzara on the run along with Desmond. Nomar Mazzara pulls up and makes the catch right on the warning track. Looked like that ball died at the last minute.
Yeah, the way Nomar started off after it, I thought it was going to be a tough play to make in the gap and maybe even off the wall. But he was just going hard for the ball. And he caught up with it. Shown pretty good instincts in the outfield.
Yep.
Anything he's supposed to catch, he's caught. And he's caught a lot of them he didn't think he was going to catch, going to his right or his left. Pretty solid out there. Pretty relaxed player.
We're still looking for things that he doesn't do very well. We haven't come up with much yet.
No.
No, 2-away. Here's Sardinas. Luis, as we mentioned, drew a walk his first time. Ball one. Sardinas, the switch hitter. This is Luis's first look at Martin Perez as an opposing player. With the Rangers, he saw Martin during spring training. Here's the inning by inning. You see the high pitch counts for the first 2 frames for Martin. That was pitch 76 of the evening. But that's not been a walk in the park for Martin Perez tonight. But he still has that 5-2 to lead. The 2-1 pitch. Sardinius this year with the Mariners, the time that he had in AAA at Tacoma. Had 8 ball games down there, and he hit .406. So that pretty well told the Mariners that he could help them at the big league level if they needed him. And you could tell Marte had to go on the disabled list, and they had need for a guy who could play shortstop every day, and Luis Sardinius fit that bill. Three and two. Oh, with 2 outs now, Iannetta will get a running start at first. If Sardinius is able to keep this inning alive, Sean O'Malley is in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch from Perez. Up the middle, that's into center field for a base hit. And then it stops at second. So 2 on with 2 out. O'Malley coming up.
Making Martin earn every out. No, very few early pitch outs. Most of the at-bats are extended at-bats with a number of pitches. Sardinius hit that one, looked like right between his legs. This is most Martin has struggled for quite some time. And he's pitching against a good team that's swinging the bat pretty well right now. Making him work.
We got a visit from both Rougned Odor and Elvis Andrus. If they can't give him a little support. Sean O'Malley 0 for 2. Couple of ground outs. Nothing in 1 as Martin went to the breaking ball on the first pitch. The 0-1 to center field. Here comes Desmond. He's going to have to play it on a hop. Iannetta around third. The throw is cut off. And more 2-out damage done by the Mariners. The RBI single by O'Malley, and that cuts the Ranger lead to 5-3. That's 3 consecutive innings now that the Mariners have struck for a run.
And the bottom of the order has done a nice job. Iannetta's had a couple of hits. Sardinius a walk and a hit. Romero a sac fly. O'Malley's hit the ball hard tonight. A couple of balls right at Adrian at third base. And that time he lined one into center field and dropped it in front of Desmond.
So the hits now are even at 7 for each team. Rangers, by benefit of that 3-run first inning, still maintain a 2-run lead. Doug Rocaille out to talk to Martin Perez. He can't find some way to extricate himself from this 4th inning.
And Martin's thinking, he said, I'm trying everything I've got. I'm using every pitch I've got. I'm throwing changeups behind in the count. I'm moving it in, moving it out. Just making it hard on me tonight.
Well, here's Franklin Gutierrez, who is 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. A little bit low for ball 1.
And Nathan Carnes has thrown a lot of pitches. Martin Perez has thrown 82 pitches, averaging over 20 pitches per inning. Hadn't been able to get that double play grounder tonight.
With a changeup missed outside, as our steel pitch tracker shows you. 2 balls, no strikes. Now, Martin has not been able to get ahead of hitters very effectively, or very consistently, I should say, tonight. That's been a rough spot for him. Hit to center. Desmond comes on and makes the catch cap high. And that will do it. But Mariners put a run on the board on 3 hits. They leave 2, and after 3.5, it's the Rangers 5, the Mariners 3 on Fox Sports Southwest. 7th. Rangers take on the Astros, and the first 15,000 fans, 14 and older, get a Powerade Rangers reusable bag. Get your $10 Tuesday tickets to the game. Log on to TexasRangers.com/specials and do that today. Ian Desmond to start things off for the Rangers here in the 4th inning. A 5-3 Texas lead. And Ian taking strike 1. Desmond 2 for 2 tonight. Pair of singles. He has scored a run. He has driven in a run. Desmond now hitting at .310, and that's the highest he has been this year. Down on the count here, though. No balls and 2 strikes. Nathan Carnes back to the plate. Highest average that Ian Desmond has had in any full season is .292 with the Nationals back in 2012. And Nathan Carnes heating him up upstairs, gets his 4th strikeout. Desmond retired, 1 away for Nomar Mazara. Vidal Nuno, left-hander, up and beginning to loosen as Nathan Carnes now approaching the upper reaches of his pitch limits. He's up at 81. I would imagine if he gets close to 100 that Scott Service is going to say that's just about enough considering the number of long pitch innings that he's had. 3 1/3 innings, and Scott Service has seen his right-hander have to cram 82 pitches in that short amount of time. Popped up on the left side. Seager for out number 2. Mazara 0 for 1 having had a sacrifice fly and a walk. And Adrian Beltre will step to the plate with the bases empty. Beltre a walk and a fly ball to center this evening. 0 for 1. Average at .283 as he faces Nathan Carnes. Adrian asking Eric Cooper, wouldn't that pitch high a little bit?
Carnes tried to have a 1-2-3 inning. He struggled in all 3 innings. Trying to have a quick pitch. 1-2-3 inning.
A ball and a strike. Yeah, neither pitcher tonight has had a 1-2-3 inning. Second inning, the high water mark with 31 for Carnes.
Well, I'll give him credit. He's battling in there. He's
Yep.
showing his best stuff here in the 4th inning after all those pitches. Lost his command and walked 4 in the 2nd, but he bouncing back with so far a pretty good inning here in the 4th.
A ball and 2 strikes to Beltre. Got him swinging. Adrian gone. That's a 1-2-3 frame with a couple of strikeouts for Nathan Carnes and the Seattle Mariners. After 4, Rangers by a pair on Fox Sports Southwest. is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Rangers on top by a couple, 5-3. Martin Perez out to the hill. Robinson Cano starting things off, and Perez hits the outside corner for strike one. It'll be Cano, Cruz, and Lee. Big boppers in the middle of this Mariner order. Cano had a single back in the first, 1 out of 2 tonight. Good breaking ball, and 0-2 now. Martin trying to settle in and have himself a quick inning, the way Nathan Carnes did in the bottom of the fourth. Odor has to range far to his right, off balance throw, and he got it. Nice play by Odor.
That's a very nice play. It's one thing to do that when you're playing on the dirt, but when you're playing out on the grass, it's a long way to go, and it's a long throw to make. And he made it look easy. Kind of comes around the ball, so he's going as much toward first base as he can when he fields the ball. Coming in just a little bit. And he's got the agility and the arm strength to make that kind of a throw on the run.
Yeah, and that really is what has amazed me watching Rougned Odor the last couple of years, is how strong his arm is. Some of the plays that he makes going away from first base, well, he puts a lot on that thing.
Yeah, and a lot of second basemen come up as shortstops where they have to have a good arm. Oh,
Nelly Cruz said, "Wait a minute, was that a strike?"
Yeah, but between them, it adds up to a strike.
I think Gary Cooper would have told him that. I missed the first one, so that one's a strike.
No, I don't think he would have said that. But we try to be as fair as we can to the umpires. And you go through a game where you're out there for 3.5 hours and you've got to call 300 pitches. You're gonna get most of them right, but occasionally you have one that doesn't go your way.
Now Cruz launched his 12th home run of the year last time up. Takes that one just a little bit low, and the count evens now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cruz now 12 home runs, 37 driven in, and that batting average at .294. Elvis gobbles it up, a .360. Got it.
Well, that's a couple nice defensive plays in the infield. That ball was hit hard by Nelly. Elvis had to show his range to his left, and then the agility to turn and make a strong throw. Unfortunately, Mitch was just tall enough to keep his foot on the bag and catch the ball. Beautiful play by Elvis. Shading him a little bit toward third. Comes up. Guns it over there and just gets Nelly at first base.
Yeah, if you're a 6 foot tall inch first baseman, you don't make that play. Mitch at 6'3" had to go up and get it all. Dayo Lee with his second hit of the night.
That guy can hit.
Yeah, he can. Oh, 1 on, 2 out. Kyle Seager coming up. We're going to say hello to Jim Knox.
I appreciate it, Buzz. The Fox Sports Fan Express rolled in from Killeen, Texas on hand. Plenty of great soldiers from Fort Hood, Sergeant Fisher. That's right. This is part of Operation 35. Cole Hamels, guest at Cole Hamels tonight. And you guys actually met Cole before the game. What did he say?
Absolutely. He just welcomed us here, thanked us for what we do, for our service. You know, we're extremely thankful for the Texas Rangers organization and specifically Cole Hamels for giving us the opportunity to come out here. We're extremely thankful.
That is great. And you guys, I know, are scattered from around the United States where you were brought up, but Texas Ranger fans tonight having a good time, right?
Absolutely.
All right, we appreciate everything you guys do. Keep up the great work. Good to have you out here. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Buzz?
All right, Knoxy, thank you. And just like that, Kyle Seager is 0 for 3, and that really needs headlines for that thing. Working around the 1 or 2 out single, 1 man off the board on guys from Fort Hood enjoying the ball game. Rangers leading by a couple. $1 hot dog night is coming up this Wednesday. That's June 8th. Rangers take on the Astros for a 7:05 start. Come on out here to Globe Life Park and enjoy all the $1 hot dogs you need for just $1 each. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Rougned Odor starting things off here in the Ranger 5th inning. 5-3 in favor of Texas. Rougned, a single and a run scored. That was back in the first. Last time up, struck out against Nathan Carnes. Breaking ball, a little bit low. 2 balls, no strikes. Next pitch now for Carnes will be his 90th of the night. Rougned taken all the way, and that's low for ball 3. So Odor trying to get aboard to start off the Ranger 5th inning. He'll be followed by the left fielder Ryan Rua. On the outside corner. 3-1. Carnes 91 pitches, 47 strikes, 44 balls. So it has very definitely been a struggle for the 28-year-old right-hander. But he's limited the damage. A leadoff walk, second of those he has issued tonight. That's the 5th walk overall that he has given the Rangers.
Left fielder, Ryan Rua.
Scott Service. Sure, trying to work with Mel Stottlemyre Jr. as to how far they feel comfortable going with Nathan Carnes, considering the extreme pitch count in a lot of innings. Rua had the 2-run double back in the first. 1 out of 2 tonight. Carnes will look over his left shoulder at Odor at first. Ground ball headed toward left. That's in for a base hit. Odor will stop at second. A walk immediately followed by a single. 2 aboard, nobody out. Mitch Moreland coming up. And before Mitch steps in, let's head over and give it to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Well, that's going to do it for Nathan Carnes tonight. He goes 4 innings plus 2 hitters here in the 5th. Scott Service calling for the left-hander, Vidal Nuno. We'll tell you all about him when we come back. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. and Fox Sports 1, the U.S. Open, the 116th edition of golf's championship in the United States. The greatest players in the world will gather at Oakmont Country Club outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the 16th through the 19th. First 2 days on Fox Sports 1, the final 2 days on Fox. Make sure you enjoy Jordan Spieth and Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, and Rory McIlroy and company as they try and tear Oakmont apart. Runners on the move, and the pitch is ground to the center, a base hit on a hit and run, I think. It was certainly a double steal attempt, but Mitch Moreland found a hole and drives in Rougned Odor. It is a 6-3 Ranger lead.
How about that play? I was just thinking in the back of my mind, Mitch has been struggling a little bit. Well, Bandy asked him to sacrifice bunt. Instead, the runners are moving. Mitch hits the ball on the ground and finds a hole with it. That's a beautiful play.
Now, that might be better than a sacrifice.
I think it's way better than a sacrifice.
I mean, for Mitch.
It's way better for Mitch, way better for the Rangers, and gosh darn it, I liked it better too. Right by Cano. Beautiful.
Well, it's settled then. We all like it better.
We all like it.
Well, Moreland with his 22nd RBI. And now runners at first and third. Still nobody out. Here's Elvis. Ball one. Elvis, a walk and a run scored in the second, a double and a run scored in the third. Gotten that hitting streak now up to 5 straight ball games. And Nuno missing inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Vidal Nuno taking over for Nathan Carnes and immediately gave up the RBI single, that run that Odor scored on the ledger of Nathan Carnes. 2-1 on the foul ball.
Nuno's having a pretty nice year in relief. Nuno's walked 1 and struck out 21, 17 2/3. Not a typical night for Nathan Carnes.
No.
He's had a nice season. He just struggled with his command tonight.
Drive to left field. It is deep. Way back. Goodbye. Elvis Andrus, a 3-run bomb. The Rangers lead it 9-3.
Well, that's a quick strike rally right there. Nuno is having an excellent season in relief, but Elvis touches him up for a 3-run homer. He continues to hit with men in scoring position. Got a 5-game hitting streak, and he is hot right now.
Goodness gracious. Look at Elvis turn on this thing. Breaking ball that was going inside but never quite got there. Elvis intercepted it. About halfway down to first base, Elvis remembered what happened last time he went into his home run trot a little early, and Adrian Beltre got all over him. Saw him speed up. Then he saw it was out.
That's way out here. That actually got to the fans.
And don't you know that Elvis will mention that to Beltre too, after Beltre last night got one that didn't get to the fans but got over the wall.
Nice play out there. A lot of happy fans for you.
I'm sure that'll come. If it hasn't already come up, I know that'll come up after the ball game.
Well, Papa John's half-price pizza tomorrow, Buzz.
Watch Elvis get out of the box. He's going to take off, and that may not be out. I better go. I got to. That was when Adrian, the specter of Adrian Beltre, kicked in.
You look at Adrian in the background smiling.
Oh. Seager cuts off that one hopper off the bat of Ryan Holiday and throws him out. That is out number 1 here in the 5th inning.
The Rangers have scored 7 or more runs now for the 18th time this year. That's an American League high.
Our Coors Light cold hard fact for you this evening. Rangers have hit at least 1 home run in 10 straight games, 15 total, including tonight. That's the team longest streak since May of last year when they did it in 12 games. Cold hard fact brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. It's a lot of home runs. Profar turns on a Nuno offering and pulls it foul.
Jurickson is swinging it from both sides of the plate. He had a double, a walk, and a long fly ball for the last out of the 3rd inning to the warning track in center field.
Yep.
So he's appreciating the opportunity and making the best out of it.
The ball and 2 strikes. Now 2-2. Well, the Rangers 9 runs on 10 hits tonight. Mariners 3 runs on 8 hits. Rangers with 4 in the inning. Going inside, and the count is now full. Profar trying to get aboard one more time. Ian Desmond will be next. Payoff pitch on the way. Jurickson trying to take that the other way and shot it into the seats. Again, the 3-2. Base hit to right.
Oh, he is swinging it right now, boy. He senses an opportunity, and he's not going to give it up.
The center fielder, Ian Desmond.
Now, you could be called up to the big leagues, and you don't really know what the future holds. But one thing for sure, the more hits you get, the better chance you've got of staying and playing.
Yeah.
I don't know a manager yet that's going to take a guy that's hot out of the lineup.
Good point.
He'll figure out a way to keep you in there when you're swinging like that, especially igniting things from the top of the lineup.
Yeah.
He's scored a run now, in at least a run in 7 straight games. Total of 10 runs in 7 games from the leadoff spot. I just can't imagine Jeff Bannister's going to want anyone there right now except Jurickson.
Desmond takes inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, the way the lineup is structured right now with Profar, Desmond, and Mazzara in the top 3 spots, it's been pretty effective.
Yep, sure has.
Beltre, of course, has been steady and hot. 1 and 2 to Desmond, but has provided a lot of offensive sparks to the rest of the lineup, and that's exactly what a manager's looking for. Desmond 2 for 3 tonight, with a run scored and an RBI.
Well, the Rangers have made some acquisitions. They've signed some free agents, but in the lineup tonight is a very nice group of young homegrown players. Profar, Mazzara, Odor, Rua, Mitch Moreland is a homegrown player. So 5 of the 9 players in the lineup tonight were signed, developed, and got to the big leagues with the Rangers.
And Desmond, another base hit.
Man.
Well, Desmond had a 4-hit night last night. That's his 3rd hit here this evening. Now, the Mariners are going to have to go back and review the scouting report on Desmond as to how to pitch to him.
The only way you can pitch him now is walk him.
Yeah.
He's hitting everything. That pitch is not a strike high. If you throw it down low, that's the one he'll probably drive out of the ballpark. You throw it outside, he hits it to right field. You throw it inside, he hits it to left field. He's just in some kind of groove right now. He's going up there with an aggressive, confident look to himself right now.
No, and the Rangers in this ballpark, especially this year, have really been tearing things up. Hitting well over 300 in the last couple of weeks here at home. And Desmond right there among the top hitters. Mazzara loops one into center. Hangs up for O'Malley, who makes the catch. That is out number 2. Profar stays at second, Desmond at first, and it brings up Adrian Beltre. Beltre is the 9th man to come to the plate here in the 5th inning.
Well, the Rangers have made Nuno throw 24 pitches to get 2 outs here in the 5th inning, so they're making him work too.
Beltre 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Takes strike 1. Nuno back to him. A ball and a strike. Rangers coming into play tonight for the year, hitting .279 here at home. That's 3rd in the league. And Beltre flagged down by Seager. The throw to second for the out. Nice play by Kyle Seager to rob Adrian Beltre of a hit and an RBI. Rangers are out in the 5th, but 9 men come to the plate. 4 of them score, 3 of them off the big bat of Elvis Andrus and his 2nd home run of the year. We go to the 6th inning. It's the Rangers 9, the Mariners 3. The Rangers' first American League Championship victory. That was back in 2010. Be one of the first 10,000 fans of the park this Thursday. That's June 9th. Watch the Rangers take on the Astros and pick up this special collectible. Tickets are available at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Now Martin Perez out to start the 6th. Looping fly ball off the bat of Chris Iannetti. He hit one very similar to that fell for a double his first time up, but not so here in the 6th inning as the first out is recorded by Nomar Mazara.
In Martin's last 2 starts, one against the Angels, he threw 90 pitches. One against Pittsburgh, he threw 98 pitches. Today it looks like Jeff Bannister is going to push him a little bit. He came in after 5 innings with 94, 95 pitches. He's at 96 pitches right now. Going to try to get that extra inning out of him. And he appreciates the opportunity. He's throwing 94 miles an hour still in this game.
Yep.
Looking for finish out this game in a strong way.
You know, we've seen him do that the last 2 times out. Is that last inning when he kind of feels like that's going to be it. He breaks out whatever he has with him, and sometimes a little bit more than what we saw him take out there. I think you pointed out time before last against the Angels. He was throwing 93, 94, and then all of a sudden pumped it up to 96 when he got in some trouble in the 6th inning.
Yeah, he was against their good hitters.
He's got Stephen Romero down in an 0-2 hole here. Now 1-2. Romero tonight, a sacrifice fly and a fly ball to right field. 0 for 1. Sac fly brought home his 2nd RBI of the year. Mentioned Romero brought to the big leagues from AAA Tacoma when Leonis Martin went on the disabled list. Dumps one into right center. That's a base hit, and Romero with a 1-out single is aboard. The Mariners looking forward to getting Leonis Martin back in the lineup, also Ketel Marte, and they feel that both those players should be available to them in the next week or so. Well, maybe by the time the Rangers head up to Safeco and face off against the Mariners next weekend, those two will be back in the lineup. Cesar Ramos now starting to loosen in that Ranger bullpen. Here's Luis Sardinas, 1 for 1, a walk and a single. Out of play over the Ranger dugout. It is 0-1. Well, the Mariners up and down the lineup tonight. Again, they're showing you the kind of offense they have, and it has been contributions from almost everybody in each spot in the lineup. Rangers, though, able to answer with a little more firepower tonight. Been able to put 9 runs on 12 hits on the board, and the Mariners 3 runs on 9 hits. And our RF camera well out there in left center field over the Mariner bullpen, showing you different vistas. Nice crowd on hand tonight. Looks to be 33, 35,000. Good Saturday night crowd here. A delightful evening, despite the late start tonight. Another foul ball out of play. Because of network concerns, the national network, Fox handling baseball on Saturday exclusively. Rangers had to start the game tonight at 8 o'clock rather than the normal 7 o'clock starting time. Now Perez ready. Another 0-2 pitch is coming. Popped him up. Mazzara in and over to his right. 2 gone. Romero staying at first. Sean O'Malley, the #1 hitter in the Mariner order, will come up for the 4th time tonight. And Martin Perez, as you can see now, over the 100 pitch mark. 104, the last one. O'Malley had a base hit his last time up. That was in the 4th inning. It drove home the last run that the Mariners have scored in this game. They scored in 3 consecutive innings, all single tallies. Rangers, meanwhile, were able to answer. Rangers with single runs in the 2nd and 3rd. Did not score in the 4th, but in the 5th, they put 5 on the board. 4 on the board, excuse me, in the 5th. Good fastball. 1-1. Season high tonight as far as pitches for Martin Perez. 1-2. Still has that good changeup to mix in with the fastball. Left-hander with a belt high set. Elvis to Odor for the force. That will do it for the Mariners. No runs a hit. They strand a runner. We'll move on to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Rangers leading Seattle 9-3. It's time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $600 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Cyril Gloria from Fort Worth will win $600. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Cyril's going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Odor driving one to left center field. That is up the alley. It's going to the wall. Rugnet into second, cruising in with a stand-up double, and Odor is 2 for 3 as he leads off the Rangers' sixth with a blast to the gap.
Well, Rugnet was leading off for a lot of the year. He's not really an on-base percentage guy, but in the middle of the lineup, he's a guy that can drive the ball and knock in runs. And with Profar doing the job at the top of the order, Rugnet settles right into the middle of the lineup where he can do some damage.
So Odor's had a single, a double, a walk. He has scored twice. Has himself in scoring position now for Ryan Rua. Rua 2 for 3. He has driven in 2. Also scored a run. Rangers now 13 hits tonight. One and one. Up the middle, but played right behind the bag is Cano on to first, and Rua is out. On to third goes Odor. He's down there with one away. And Mitch Moreland coming out.
First baseman, Mitch Moreland.
Ryan getting a pat on the back for moving the runner over to third base. And Mitch with the infield in, going to try to drive in a run. Well, this alignment really looks funny when you have the shift on and the infield in.
Yeah. You got nobody between shortstop Sardinius and Seager, and that's about a span of 95 feet or so.
He better hope that Cano better hope that Mitch doesn't get a hold of one and hit a one-hopper at him, because that ball jumps off his bat at 110 miles an hour. Cano's going to have some quick hands.
Yeah. Or they might want to get a glove for Nick Lentz, the second base umpire over there that's playing shortstop. There is strike 2. Nick Lentz perfectly positioned out there, playing in just like the rest of the infielders.
I still say I'd like to see in that situation, ground ball hit there, the umpire pick it up and throw it to first. Just one time.
Almost had a chance to see it. Now Rugnet is caught in the middle. Iannetta running him back, and he's going to make the tag. Stayed in it long enough to allow Moreland to get to second base. That's the case. Mitch hit that ball pretty sharply. Nice play, though, by Nuno to get Odor in that rundown.
The shortstop, Elvis Andrews.
If he hit a little bit to the left, it would have been a base hit right to the shortstop. He's giving it all he can to get out of that rundown.
Well, Moreland now out at second with 2 outs. Here's Elvis. Boy, and he has had a night. A double, a home run, a walk. He has scored 3 times. He has driven in 3. That average now up over 300 again for Elvis. 302. And he hits a towering drive again to left. That is deep. Romero back at the wall and makes the catch. Elvis visions of a 2-home run night comes up about 5 feet short. Rangers gone in the 6th. No runs a hit. They lead 1. On to the 7th. 9-3 Texas on Fox Sports Southwest. Summary, Rangers got off to a quick start in that first inning. Ryan Rua, a 2-run double. A 3-run first inning for the Rangers. Ryan Holiday then, an RBI base hit in the third. Brought home Elvis Andrus. That made it a 5-2 Ranger lead. Then Elvis took matters into his own hands. A 3-run bomb, capping off a 4-run fifth inning. Elvis' second home run of the year. That has backed up Martin Perez, who now gives way to Cesar Ramos. Cesar coming on to take over here, his 7th appearance. He is 1-2 with an ERA of 3.5. Opponents hitting .296 against the southpaw. Franklin Gutierrez, Robinson Cano, and Nelson Cruz here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, again, you really like the way that Martin Perez ended up. He gave up a hit in the 5th, a hit in the 6th, but no runs. Finished strong, pitched that extra inning, went from 95 pitches to 105, 106 pitches. Got a big hug from Jeff Bannister after the 6th inning. I'm sure he said something along the lines of, I wanted you to pitch that last inning. You went out and got the job done. I really appreciate.
That ball just ate Adrian Beltre up alive. You don't see that happen very often. Gutierrez sliding into second just ahead of the throw by Ryan Rua. Sorry, Tom, I was just amazed that Beltre didn't feel that.
No, that was a hard hit ball. Looked like it had some top spin on it to get by Adrian. But Jeff Bannister, I'm sure, appreciates very much Martin getting that last inning. And from Martin's standpoint, it's another confidence builder. It wasn't his best start of the year, but he battled his way through 6 innings, got a quality start, finished strong, and oh, look at, no wonder it ate him up. You see the way that ball bounced?
Yeah.
The spin on it took that ball from the left to the right. No way you were going to be able to figure that hop out.
Adrian looked at it like, you know, that could have been my teeth if I'd gotten down there a little bit for it.
That thing really took a hop to the right.
So it goes down as a double for Franklin Gutierrez. He is in scoring position. And Robinson Cano takes ball 1. Cano singled his first time to the plate back in the first inning. Since then has grounded out twice. Drive to right field. Mazzara back has room right in front of the track and makes the catch. Gutierrez tagging at second, moves on into third.
Pretty strong throw.
Very strong throw.
We're talking about Jeff Bannister between innings. Gets a hug and some words of appreciation, some compliments. And when it's all over and done with, Martin has to feel like $1 million after that game. He had some runs scored for him. He's in position if the Rangers maintain the lead to get a win. And the Mariners made it tough for him. They battled him. They had tough at bats, long at bats, had some hits. He had to pitch out of jams all night long, but he managed to battle through it. Have a solid outing.
Yeah, and by definition, that goes down as a quality start. But you know, that's one of the ones that if you talk to the pitcher, he will say, "No, that wasn't what I consider quality." Yeah, I got through it. I kept the ball club in the game. I did my job from that standpoint. But you know, from a pitching standpoint, not quality, not the way I would like to have it done. Nelly Cruz, a home run in 3 trips, facing Cesar Ramos. Franklin Gutierrez at third with 1 out. Cruz at .293 with the average. Rangers with that 6-run lead playing the infield back. 2-1. He's shading Cruz slightly around to the left. Odor still on the second base side of the bag. Two and two. Ramos back to the plate. Ground ball to Elvis. That's going to score the run. Gutierrez down the line to cross home plate. Cruz out at first, but he gets his second RBI of the night, makes it a 9-4 Ranger lead. And empties the bases now with 2 away for Dae-Ho Lee.
First baseman Dae-Ho Lee.
Steve Johnson up and throwing in the Mariner bullpen. Dae-Ho Lee, another multi-hit game. He had 2 hits in last night's contest. First ball swinging, and he is going to fly out to Nomar Mazara, and that is going to do it. A run on a hit and nobody left. We will take the 7th inning stretch here at Globe Life Park. 9-4 Rangers on top. Now let's join Chuck Morgan as he introduces God Bless America.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and direct your attention now to the area behind home plate and welcome Lauren Hedrick. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Lauren will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, wide with
to meet Rangers pitcher Sam Dyson and Rangers captain coming up on June 8th at the Whataburger on Airport Freeway over in Euless. Just visit TexasRangers.com/appearances for more information. Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning. Sam will be out there with the captain. Stop by and see him. Now we go to the bottom of the 7th. Steve Johnson has come out of the Mariner bullpen to take over. He will face Ryan Holiday to start things off, and the 31-year-old right-hander from Baltimore. This is with ball 1. Johnson in his 12th ball game, a 2.92 ERA. It's a fly ball to shallow center field. Ryan Holiday retired. That is out number 1, and Jurickson Profar now will come up. And before Jurickson steps in, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. Thank you, John.
Wow.
Holy cow. Another Trevor Story.
Guess so. I have to start reading about him.
And we'll see them later on in the summer.
We're going to find out about him.
Profar chops one foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. Nice play by Hector Ortiz down there. The Ranger first base coach makes a couple of new friends in the first row. Profar 2 for 3 tonight. And he's going to have that one fall in. Not quite. Nice sliding catch by Sean O'Malley, taking a base hit away from Jurickson.
Well, he tried to take one away from him in the first inning leading up. Couldn't quite get to it. It went for a double. This time he caught up with it.
No, 2 away. Ian Desmond will be next. Desmond 3 for 4 tonight, again after a 4 for 5 night on Friday. And Cano takes his 4th potential hit away with a leaping catch of that line drive. And Steve Johnson has a very quick 6-pitch inning. Rangers gone in order. On we go to the 8th. 9-4 Texas on Fox Sports Southwest.
Tom, time for the progressive fan of the game. We got to give it to Ainsley right here, having her bachelorette party here. Look at this sign. Last pitch before I'm hitched. Congratulations to all the bridesmaids. Stand up. Give Ainsley a hand here. When's the big date?
It's next Saturday. Do you know that?
Congratulations. You could have gone anywhere. Why here at Globe Life Park?
I've been a Rangers fan my whole life. It's something I've wanted to do since I was little, and Michael Young's my favorite baseball player.
Awesome. Michael is going to be inducted in the Rangers Hall of Fame July 30th. Congratulations. Here's the bag. I know your husband's watching in Oklahoma. What would you like to say to him?
I love you, and I miss you, and I can't wait to be your wife next week.
Oh, big God. Great. And any big plans after the game tonight?
We are going to drink some lemonade and head on home.
Great bunch of girls right here. All right. Congratulations. And continue root on those Rangers. Appreciate it. Buzz?
All right, Noxie, thank you. Beltre and Elvis playing their game out there on the left side. That's not Noxie's normal gathering out there. Normally it's something a little harder than lemonade that they're imbibing in, but that's good. Glad to hear that.
Well, an unusual game in that Kyle Seager has gone 0 for 4. Who's going to catch it? Adrian's still looking for it.
So one away. And here's Chris Iannetta, who has a couple of hits tonight. He's 2 for 3. Iannetta doubled in the second inning and had a base hit with 1 out in the fourth. Came around to score. 2 out of 3, hitting at .213. And Cesar Ramos with a ball and a strike count. Ramos back to the plate. 2-1. Cesar, 31 years of age, about ready to turn 32. He will later on this month. Out of Southern California. A jam shot floater down the left field line. Elvis sliding and comes up just a little bit short. Good thing he slid. He would have gone head over heels over that tarp. He's explained to Adrian, so I had to. I was not going to fold myself into the tarp. No, 2-2 now to Iannetta. Full count. Iannetta hitting 7th, followed by Stephan Romero. Payoff pitch. We'll try it again. Whenever Cesar Ramos gets in the ballgame, it reminds me of saying Southern California. He went to Long Beach State, did his college pitching down there. I'm still trying to figure out how that team ever lost any ball games. Another 3-2 pitch. Hit pretty well to right center. Desmond on the dead run, and that ball is off the wall. Iannetta into second ahead of the throw by Desmond. It was close, but Iannetta with his second double of the night.
That's pretty good defensive play if you can make the runner, the hitter, slide. Picked it off the wall, fires it in. If that ball somehow ended up on the bag, that would have been the play of the year.
Yep.
I'd say he's getting acclimated to center field pretty well. I'm sure, didn't think he was going to have to slide when that ball was hit.
I'm sure there's going to be a statistic, or there probably already is, or a metric about how long the ball stays in an outfielder's hands after he makes the catch off the wall like that. Desmond would have the shortest period of time of anybody.
Yeah, I don't think there's an outfielder that gets rid of the ball quicker, period. He gets rid of it like a shortstop, having to come in and make a play at first base on almost every ball.
Matt Bush starting to loosen in the Ranger bullpen. Yeah, he's incredible. Aggressive and accurate too. I mean, you make throws like that pretty much on the button. So Iannetta at second with 1 out. Stephan Romero has a base hit and 2 official trips to the plate. Also has a sacrifice fly. You're talking about Ramos, though, going to Long Beach State, and the loaded club that they had. Cesar was roommates with a couple of guys there that turned out to be pretty good. Evan Longoria and Troy Tulowitzki. And if you like shortstops that can hit and play defense and do everything, and Longoria eventually moved over to third base. Moreland right behind the commissioner's box down there, around the corner, and in behind made the catch. Nice play by Mitch.
Yep, that was navigating the wall.
2 outs.
Boy, that's pretty good maneuvering. He took
Sure
one
is.
quick look to find out where he was, had to shuffle back, and then go back toward the wall and make the catch. Nice play.
Well, that's out number 2, and it brings up Luis Sardinas. And on top of the Long Beach State team we were talking about, Longoria and Tulowitzki. Jared Weaver was there, and so was Jason Vargas.
That's a pretty good start for a team right there.
How did they lose? I mean, that's, you know.
Did they lose? Did they win?
I don't think so. No, they did not. They did not win the national championship, but they should have. just on ability. There's a strike to Sardinius. It is 0-2. Luis tonight a single, a walk, and a fly ball to right. 1 for 2. Ionetta still out there at second. Got him swinging. Big slow hook, and Cesar Ramos works around the 1-out double. Mariners strand a runner will go to the bottom of the 8th. Rangers 9, Mariners 4 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Live Park, your Texas Rangers in control. 9-4 here in the bottom of the 8th. Hey, make sure you join us tomorrow for the series finale in the hot sun. It's going to be a beautiful day here at Globe Life. At 2 o'clock start, the Battle of the Sluggers, Robinson Cano and Nomar Mazara. The Big Chill, Derek Holland looking to continue his 3 quality starts. It's at 2 o'clock. Join us on Fox Sports Southwest. And, of course, Rangers Live a half hour before. Now upstairs to Buzz and Tom.
All right, Rick. Now Nomar Mazara getting set to lead off the Ranger 8th inning. Steve Johnson deals strike 1. Nomar 0 for 2 tonight. Pop out, fly out. He's also had a sacrifice fly to drive in a run back in the first. That's his 5th sacrifice fly of the year. That is tops in the American League. 2 balls and a strike. Mazara now with the average at 302. Gets this one well to left center field. That is way up the alley toward the bullpen. Goodbye. Nomar Mazara with his 10th home run of the year. And the Rangers are in double figures, 10-4.
I've seen Nomar hit him long to right field, and we've seen him hit him center field in Toronto and left center field today into the bullpen. Safe to say he has power straight away to all fields.
Goodness gracious. Second Ranger home run of the night and the 60th for the year.
Pitch on the outside corner, and he went the other way with it.
And Beltre going the other way, but it's a fly ball to shallow right for out number 1.
The second baseman, Rugman Odor.
Omar Mazara. Listen to this thing. You saw Steve Johnson's reaction. The pitcher just kind of hung his head as soon as he heard that sound. Hung it for 2. He knew where the ball was going to go by the sound of it, and also probably busted his eardrum. Such a loud crack of the bat. Rugnet Odor takes ball 1. Odor in his return to the active roster tonight, 2 for 3. He has scored twice, single and a double. He has walked. He's been right in the middle of a lot of good Ranger things happening this evening. Mentioned the first time up that Odor had been in a bit of an offensive downturn last 7 or 8 ball games prior to serving a suspension.
Coming into this series, the Rangers have won 8 consecutive series at home. They lost the opening series to Seattle. Since that time, they've won 8 straight, and if they hang on and win this, that'll be 9 straight series at home. Playing some great baseball at home, swinging the bats, and pitching pretty well at home too.
Johnson fields, throws high, but Lee, a pretty big target over there. That is out number 2. And Ryan Rua coming up. Well, folks, you can follow the Rangers baseball live on MLB.com at Bat app. You can stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, Statcast, news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. 2 away, Ryan Rua will be next. Yeah, if the Rangers do close this out tonight, 9 straight home series wins will tie the most ever in franchise history. Did that back in 1993, the only other time they've had as many as 9 straight series wins at home. And if they're able to go on and close this out, this would be 5 straight overall series. Since being swept by Oakland out in the Bay Area. Matt Bush and Tom Wilhelmsen. Wilhelmsen just recalled from AAA Round Rock today. Reports on Tom that he's gone back to throwing a few 2-seam fastballs along with his 4-seamer and other pitches. And Jeff Manners is saying he looked fresh. Sometimes getting away from things when they've gone wrong a little bit can kind of freshen your outlook. And Rua draws the base on ball. Well, he is aboard with 2 outs.
Ryan's got his average over 300 now. He's had a double, a single, and a walk in this ball game.
There was a mention in the Ranger notes today about last night was the 3rd time the ball club had had more walks than strikeouts in a game. The hitters, Ranger hitters. Well, they're doing that again tonight. That was the 6th walk, and they've had 5 strikeouts.
That's a good sign.
Sure is. Talk about pitchers' strikeout to walk ratios. I guess it's just important for the offense to have a positive one. Mitch tonight 1 for 4. And an RBI single in that big 4-run 5th inning for the Rangers. Rua not being held on at first. 1-2. Rangers 10 runs on 14 hits tonight. Mariners 4 runs on 11 hits. Sure looks like Mitch, at least in the last couple of pitches, is trying to take advantage of that overshift. Trying to take the ball the other way. Steve Johnson staying away with the pitches, and looked like Mitch was trying to drive the ball to our left of Kyle Seager. There's a pitch inside, 2-2. Seager playing in a normal shortstop position. Matter of fact, he would be a shortstop that's shaded up the middle. All three, the rest of the other 3 infielders on the right side of the diamond. But there's about 85 feet of territory between the foul line and Seager. In the dirt, and the count is now full. Moreland trying to extend this Ranger 8th inning. He's able to keep things going. Elvis Andrus will be next. Ryan Rua drew a walk. He is at first base. He'll be moving with this 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs. 2 on for Elvis.
The shortstop, Elvis Andrus.
Well, Elvis gave it a ride his last time up. Almost had back-to-back home runs in the 5th inning and the 6th inning. Hit it right to the base of the wall in left field.
One ball, no strikes.
Elvis has his average now right at 300. Took a little dip there for about 20 games, but he's got it back going pretty well now. Last 18 games, he's hitting well over 320.
Two balls.
Johnson suddenly having a little problem throwing the ball over the plate.
Scott Service, not much the skipper can do. He's seen 7 walks issued to Ranger hitters tonight, along with the 14 hits. Chopper went over the protective screen in front of the Mariner dugout. It looked like he got somebody. Everybody's up right now, so I guess they're okay. Two balls and a strike to Elvis. Trying the same spot down there.
Nice play. Ball skipped through the stands and someone speared it.
Elvis against Vidal Nuno. Back in that 4-run 5th, that capped off the Rangers scoring with that bomb from Elvis, his 2nd home run of the year, a 3-run blast. Elvis again up with 2 runners aboard. Nice crowd on hand here tonight. 34,317 in attendance. We have seen a lot of offense. Rangers on the high end of a 10-4 ball game. Elvis to center. O'Malley got a good break on it. And that'll do it. Nomar Mazara leads off with his 10th home run of the year. The Rangers strand a couple. We'll go to the 9th inning. It's the Rangers 10 and the Mariners 4 on Fox Sports Southwest.
As we head to the 9th inning and we see what Santa does in the offseason. Like Stan Lee, Santa apparently comes to Rangers games, and we appreciate both of them being here tonight. After the game, it's a complete post-game wrap-up. Mark McLemore is already here with me. We are working on Rangers Live. We'll bring you a complete wrap-up of this one. We'll get lots of post-game from several of the players who had such big nights. Of course, Jeff Bannister as well. Buzz and Tom check in, and we'll see what Rick Renner can get for us in the clubhouse. It's all right after the game. It's Rangers Live, guys.
All right, John, thanks very much. Well, Tom Wilhelmsen just came back today from AAA Round Rock. He is on now to work the 9th inning. Wilhelmsen, his 18th appearance of the year, 2-2. His record, that ERA rather inflated at just shy of 10. John O'Malley, the switch hitter, now turns around to bat from the left side against the right-hander Wilhelmsen. Tom, down at AAA Round Rock, was 0-1 in 5 ball games, but he'd only given up 1 run in 8 innings of work and an ERA of 1.13. Hitters hitting just 172 against him. 2 balls and a strike. Wilhelmsen, of course, the former Mariner who came over to the Rangers in that 5-player deal this last November. Hit hard to center, but right at Ian Desmond. 1 out. And Scott Service now goes to the bench. Comes off with the left-handed hitting Seth Smith to bat for Franklin Gutierrez. When Service has gone to the bench this year, the pinch hitters have done great work for the Mariners, hitting .340 as a group. That's 3rd best in the American League, and the American League not noted for pinch hitting with the DH. You don't get as many opportunities as they do in the National League, and have a group come through the way the Mariners group has is pretty impressive.
Daeho Lee's pinch hit 2 home runs and knocked in 7 runs as a pinch hitter. A weapon off the bench.
1-1 to Smith. He was a hit that game winner off of Jake Diekman, didn't he?
Yeah.
As a pinch hitter.
Yep.
Big slow breaking ball hangs high, and it's 2-1. Wilhelmsen in his time in Seattle appeared in as many as 73 games for the Mariners. That was back in 2012. And he misses low, 3-1. Tom out of Tucson, Arizona. And he missed inside, ball 4. Oh, Smith draws the pinch hit walk. He is aboard, and now you get into the meat of the order. Robinson Cano to be followed by Nelson Cruz. Tom, you'd mentioned earlier about this is not a ball club you want to give any kind of life to.
Not after that one game they had in San Diego.
Yeah, even with the 6-run lead and 1 out in the 9th inning, you get that uneasy feeling. They scored 14 runs in 2 innings against the San Diego Padres. They were trailing 12-2 after 5 innings. And they scored 5 in the 6th, 9 in the 7th. Ended up winning 16-13. A strike at the knees to Cano as Seth Smith takes second base on defensive indifference. And Bobby, I should say Brian Holliday going out and making sure that he and Tom Wilhelmsen are going to use the same sequences of signs with a runner at second base. Cano 1 for 4 tonight. Foul back, and Wilhelmsen now with the advantage at no balls and 2 strikes. Ranger defense swung around to the right. Elba's still on the shortstop side of second base. Both he and Rougned Odor at the rim of the outfield grass. Now the 0-2. Moreland will take it to the bag himself. On to third goes Smith. There are 2 outs now, and Nelson Cruz coming to home plate. Well, Martin Perez on the verge of evening up his record at 4-4, and an impressive performance tonight. Maybe not quite as sharp as he was his last 2 outings, but tonight every bit as much gumption on the mound. Having to work through some difficulties, fighting himself a little bit, but winning that fight. And hopefully with 1 more out, getting the win in the ballgame. Strike 1 to Cruz, who is 1 for 4. That one, his 12th home run of the year. Driven in a couple, now 38 RBI for the season. 2-hopper to Elvis. Triggers the throw across, and that is a winner. Tom Wilhelmsen gives up a harmless walk. The Mariners strand a runner in the 9th inning. The Rangers have won the first 2 in this series. They have won the series against the Seattle Mariners this time around. Having won the first 2 ball games, they will look for a sweep tomorrow. But tonight, 9th straight home series win. That ties the franchise record that was set back in 1993. And the Rangers equaled that here this evening as they down the Mariners in impressive fashion. The Rangers scoring in 5 different innings. Had 3 in the first, 4 in the 5th inning, and then single runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 8th inning. And Jeff Bannister's ball club now has its largest lead in the American League West this entire season. They are 2 games up on the Seattle Mariners heading into the finale tomorrow afternoon. So a very impressive outing. Rangers with 14 hits, a couple of home runs tonight. Big evenings from Elvis Andrus, from Nomar Mazara, from Ian Desmond, Jurickson Profar, Rougned Odor, up and down the lineup. It was a very good offensive performance. Everybody contributed and got it done here tonight. And let's head down to the field and check in with Rick Renner, who's standing by.
Thank you, Buzz. I'm here with most likely to get dumped by a Gatorade shower. He's already got his shoes off. He's ready to go. Elvis Andrus, a couple of hits. You extend your hitting streak to 5 in a row. And how about it? Actually, I'm just going to get out of the way and enjoy this. Payback. How about being reunited with your good buddy Rougned Odor off the suspension?
Oh, feeling really good, man. But I think today was a great team effort, man. I think we were playing a really good ball. Martin threw a terrific job today, especially after he had his birth of his girl 2 days ago. So congratulations to him. But it's just, we're rolling right now. We're playing good defense, we play with offense, we're running the bases the right way, so we have to keep it up.
You know you just have to take the Gatorade shower because you're the one that usually gives it, right?
Yeah, I'm the one that always throws. I know it was coming. It's kind of refreshing, too.
Feels nice. So looking at this game, you extend your hitting streak. Another great game with runners in scoring position for you. A big 3-run bomb. You almost had 2 home runs. People forget you got a little pop in your bat, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really try to hit a homer, but, you know, in that situation, especially after my first double, I just feel good in the play. So, you know, I trust myself that why not, you know? And I know that if you put a good swing on it, the ball can go. So that was my mentality, just trying to, you know, get a good pitch. And, you know, whenever something happened like that, you just, you know, appreciate it.
How about this infield? You guys are like a vacuum out there behind Martin Perez.
We do, man. We take that for granted, especially, you know, from what happened in the past. I think that, you know, we're using that as a reminder. Don't take anything for granted. No inning, no pitch. So, it's really fun, you know, to see everybody making every play and just helping the pitch. We know that if we're doing our job, the pitcher is going to be a lot comfortable.
Congratulations, great win. He's hitting 16 of the last 18 games. Now back up top to Buzz and Tom, guys.
All right, Rick, good stuff. Thanks very much. Good stuff from the Rangers, 10-4 the final. We will be back with more from Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.